Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Cohen back here again tonight with another episode of After the Buzzer. We just had one of our first, really big matchups of the NBA season tonight with the Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns facing off. The Golden State Warriors coming into this one 8-2, the Phoenix Suns on a 16-game win streak, a clash of the two best teams, not just in the Western Conference, but in the entirety of the NBA, and the Phoenix Suns came out on top in Phoenix. We get a rematch of this in just a couple days too, which I'm super stoked about. Hopefully Devin Booker is healthy again. We'll talk about that in a second though. But the Phoenix Suns made a big statement in tonight's game, beating the Golden State Warriors, the team that many people, me included, have said so far if we had to pick an NBA champion today, it would be them. A lot of people have been talking about how great the Golden State Warriors are, how Steph Curry's the MVP, how especially when they get Klay Thompson back, who's going to be able to beat them. And this Phoenix Suns team made a massive statement by winning this game by 8 points in a ton of different ways. Number one, like I mentioned, Devin Booker got hurt in this game. He didn't even play for most of the game, only playing 15 minutes after leaving with a hamstring injury. Hopefully he is able to play in the next game. It's going to suck if he isn't. The good news is these two teams will meet later on in the season as well. But this just felt like such a big playoff atmosphere game, and I love those regular season games. I was thinking back on some of my favorite regular season games earlier, and they're just a lot of fun. It's cool to see previews of these matchups because if these two teams are 1-2 in the West, there is a possibility that we won't get to see them play in the playoffs if one of them gets knocked out before the Western Conference Finals. So it's cool to see these two teams with the best record in the NBA go at each other, and I want to see that full strength. So hopefully Devin Booker does come back. But getting a win like this without Devin Booker for most of the game is huge for the Phoenix Suns. They now are the number one seed in the Western Conference. And if I told you that, if you hadn't been paying attention, you might not realize that because of how quietly they've been dominating. People have talked about their win streak and everything like that. 17, by the way, ties their franchise record. So they've got one more win to go before they end up breaking that record. The Suns are just playing amazing basketball. Not only were they out without Devin Booker, but they locked up Steph Curry. Steph Curry, I made a video, by the way, I think I'm cursed because every player I make a video about or team I make a positive video about, they just completely flip the other way. I think I want to make a video on that, so maybe that'll be a video that drops tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. If you want to see that, let me know in the comment section below. Also leave a like while I'm here. Let's see if we can hit 100 on this video. But Steph Curry was bad tonight. He had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 12 assists, super inefficient. He was airballing shots left and right, and the Suns played some of the best defense I've seen on Steph, by far the best defense I've seen on Steph all season, but some of the best defense I've seen on Steph, period. They were destroying him out there. They were playing physical. They were getting right up on him. They were fighting over screens, switching things. But no matter who was guarding Steph Curry, they were giving him a really, really hard time. They put a ton of effort in on the defensive end. No team so far this season has held the Warriors to less than 100 points. The Suns are the first to do it. And holding Steph Curry to 12 points, it's a big win for this Phoenix Suns defense, and the big guy on that end for them was Mikal Bridges. He is a stud defensively. He should be a lock, just off of this one game, he should be a lock for all defense with the defense that he played on Steph, his length making Steph uncomfortable, making him take off-balance shots. Steph has one of the quickest releases in the league, and Mikal was always right up on him. He never got his hands in the cookie jar. He never got any of those bad fouls that Steph Curry can make you give because you have to give him so much respect. They were guarding him the second he crossed half court. They were playing physical. They were just all over him. They were smothering him on defense. Now, Steph did miss some shots that were just open, but I think a part of that is a result of the physicality that the Suns were using. And that's something you kind of have to do with a guy like Steph Curry. You've got to be physical. You've got to make him work for every single bucket and make him tired so he can't get in rhythm. He can't get those easy looks that are just rhythm shots for him that are wide open. If he's going to take a wide open jumper, he has to run through 12 different guys around 14 different screens before he's finally able to get that open shot. And that's what the Suns were doing. That's the way that you try and slow down Steph Curry. It's very rare that you're ever able to stop him quite as much as the Suns were able to tonight, but that's how you got to slow him down. And the Suns did an amazing job of executing that. They also did a great job of just targeting the mismatches on the Warriors. Chris Paul was taking everyone off the dribble in the mid-range like he always does. 15 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists, and that doesn't nearly say the impact that he had on this game defensively as well. He was also all over the court defensively, making those hustle plays that Chris Paul always makes, making amazing passes that don't quite always result in the assist, but at least the hockey assist. Swing passes, he would drive into the lane, swing it all the way to the corner. They would rotate rotate over and you hit whoever's in the corner, hits the next guy in the wing, they drain a three, all orchestrated by the amazing offense of Chris Paul. Coming from the great defense, they had so many stops on that side of the ball that then resulted in pretty good looks in transition. I can think of one particularly where Cam Johnson earlier in the game got a wide open trailing three because they played great defense, and the Warriors had just been running back and forth so much they couldn't really keep up with it. The Suns play with a ton of pace, they play great defense, and this team is for real. People last season were calling the Suns a fluke. They were saying that they had like a fluke run, that if everyone was healthy, there was no way that Suns team made it to the finals. That's just not true. Everyone could have been healthy, and I still think that Suns team was good enough to make it to the finals. Well, you're seeing it right now. They're the number one seed in the Western Conference at this moment. They're 18-3. They're on a 17-game winning streak. They're a championship contender, and it's time for people to start respecting them more. Not enough people are talking about how good this Phoenix Suns team is. DeAndre Ayton, 24-11. He was dominating down low. He was taking advantage of mismatches, and not even just that, but he was not only hitting those shots close to the basket, he was going up, grabbing boards over pretty much everyone. There could be like 2 or 3 guys in there. He was getting in there, fighting under the basket. He was hitting really tough turnaround jumpers, little baby hook shots. He missed a couple layups in there, but we won't talk about that. Ayton is showing his value to this team. He also blocked a Steph Curry 3. That's not something we typically see from a center. He's super mobile, and even if he doesn't stretch the floor that much, he is so integral to the Suns team. He's going to get paid in the offseason. He should have already gotten a max extension, but that is going to come at some point because he absolutely deserves it. Jay Crowder drilling a few crucial threes. Devin Booker playing well in the time that he was on the court. Cam Johnson doing what he does and making the little plays left and right that helps this team win with 14 points. They were incredible tonight. Every facet of the game, the Suns had it going for them. And that's what you have to do against a team like the Warriors that are a well-oiled machine. You have to throw all kind of wrenches into their game plan to try and make things work for you. And that's what they were doing. It was super fun to watch. I would love to see a series between these two teams because they both play amazing, such good basketball. Offense, defense, run and transition. They've got players that make highlight plays. Chris Paul mid-ranges, Steph Curry crazy threes. You throw Klay Thompson in the mix. You have Devin Booker healthy. These two teams would be an incredible Western Conference Final series. And right now, I think that's kind of the direction that things are headed. These are by far the two best teams in the West at the moment. It's not even close. They play such good team basketball. They've got guys on both sides that can get stops, score the ball, and I'm looking forward once again to the matchup coming up. It was just, the matchup lived up to all the hype. I wish Devin Booker was healthy, but even so, winning this game without Devin Booker for the Phoenix Suns, beating a team like the Warriors that a lot of people thought, oh, this is going to be the game where the Phoenix Suns win streak ends. It's not easy to win 16 in a row. You get tired. In the NBA especially, there's never any guarantee. You could play the worst team in the league 16, 17 times in a row, and you would lose at least one or a few of them. To go from 16-game winning streak to come in, beat the Warriors in this high-intensity matchup, they are built for these big moments, and these Phoenix Suns are for real, and it's time that people start talking about them like they are for real. Last year wasn't a fluke. Making the finals as a fluke is near impossible, and it didn't happen with this Phoenix Suns team. On the Warriors side of the ball, I do want to give a shout to a couple guys. Jordan Poole, 28 points. He was a big guy for them tonight with Steph Curry really struggling. 16 from Otto Porter Jr., who continues to be a really, really solid pickup. 8, 11, and 5 from Draymond Green with some great defense as well. It really wasn't their night. Like I said, Steph Curry really struggled. Also, Gary Payton II is a great role player. He was a big pickup for them. His defense, I feel like he throws on a highlight dunk every game, so he was super fun to watch. But yeah, this Suns team is ridiculous. Moving on from that, the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks in this game, the TNT game right before the Suns-Warriors game. It was a close game right up until the end. The Nets kind of pulled away a little bit, then the Knicks brought it back. I think they were down by like 16 or so in the third quarter, and then they really brought it back at the end. At the end of the game, Mitchell Robinson fouls James Johnson in what is one of the worst fouls I've seen in a while. He is 7 feet tall. James Johnson is not that tall. All he had to do was put his arm straight up and probably would have gotten a stop. Went to overtime, but instead he fouls James Johnson, hits his free throws, and the game ends 112 to 110 for the Nets. I do want to give a shout to Julius Randle, who had 24, 9, and 8. Alec Burks with 25, 5, and 5. He's been really solid as their starting point guard. Also, Derrick Rose, 16, 5, and 9 assists in this one. Evan Fournier hitting a clutch 3 at the end to tie this up before the James Johnson free throws. He's been a guy that's in pretty big slump, so him getting that bucket at the end is probably pretty good for his rhythm. On the net side of the ball, James Harden has one of his best games of the season, 34, 10, and 8. It looked like the James Harden of old out there. He was getting to the bucket. He was making the usual moves that he makes. He was hitting shots. He was doing pretty much everything out there, and if this James Harden shows up more often, the Nets become way scarier, but he's got to show up, and he's got to be consistent in it. He shows these flashes. He had one like a week ago. He had this game now. Every now and again, we see flashes of the score that James Harden has always been. Hopefully, he's able to stay because it's way more fun to watch him when he is on, like he was tonight. Kevin Durant started really slow, but ends up scoring 27 with 5 rebounds and 9 assists. Continues to make an MVP campaign of his own as the Nets remain as the top seed in the East. Third game I want to talk about, by the way, I'm going to talk about 4 of the games. I'm not going to talk about the Raptors-Grizzlies game. I just didn't have time to watch it. Lakers versus Kings. This one was a weird one because the Lakers went down by, I think it was around 9 or so at half, and then they went on a 40-8 run over the course of like the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and they win by a ton. 25-point victory for the Los Angeles Lakers over the Sacramento Kings. 23, 5, and 6 from Russ, who was huge in that run. 25, 7, and 3 for Anthony Davis. 12 and 13 from Dwight Howard, who had a really solid game. 22 from Malik Monk. This was just a big win for a Lakers team that missing LeBron James now for potentially 5 games due to him testing positive for COVID. Hope he gets well soon, but this was a big win for the Lakers. They've got to get momentum. Even if it's against a team like the Kings who aren't very good, you've got to keep racking up these wins. With LeBron out, you have to make sure you win these easy ones because down the line, you don't want to be fighting for a potentially a play-in spot if guys continue to get injured, if your team doesn't figure it out. You don't want to lose these easy ones that end up costing you a chance at being a 6 or a 5 seed rather than like a 7 or an 8 and be having to play in that play-in tournament. So this is a big win for them. On the Kings side of the ball, 27 and 9 for Rashawn Holmes, who had a massive game. 14 for Chimezie Metu, who is a solid player that I feel like people don't talk about that much. And that was about it. Also, 17 from De'Aaron Fox, I guess, but that's nothing new for him. And finally, I want to talk about Portland versus the Detroit Pistons. No Damian Lillard in this one. Anthony Simons starts at point guard with 12, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. 28 for CJ McCollum, 13 for Yusuf Nurkic. In a pretty solid all-around team effort, win for them by 18. Cade Cunningham with 26, 7, and 1. One of his best games of the season. He was phenomenal tonight. Started off for 4 for 4 and continued to shoot efficiently. Really stepped up for a team that needs his offense because of the Pistons. They are struggling. They cannot put the ball in the basket like almost any night. Only 14 from Jeremy Grant, 11 from Killian Hayes, 10 from Frank Jackson, 15 from Isaiah Stewart. They got some guys, but it was pretty much Cade tonight, and he played like the number 1 overall pick. He had a really solid game, and I feel like he deserves a lot of credit for that, even in a loss because the Pistons just aren't very good. So those were the games from tonight. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to watch any of the Raptors-Grizzlies game, so I apologize I didn't talk about that one. I feel like I haven't talked about the Raptors that much. I want to remedy that. In December, I'm going to try and do a streak of uploading every single day, so I'll try and talk about as many teams as I can. If you do have a video idea, whether it's like a quiz or a topic or maybe just something else you want me to talk about, or just any kind of video ideas at all, please let me know in the comment section below because I'm super open to ideas and what y'all want to see. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate y'all watching. I will see y'all later. Real One Say It Back.